And so 2023 was really a year of, well, we're going to stop this right here. We're going to teach you to really let go, because I have worked on my anxiety in other areas massively. I told you it was a weasel, that little weasel. Welcome to Mindset Mastery with Julissa Edwards, the podcast dedicated to helping high performers unlock their true potential and cultivate a powerful mindset for success. I'm your host, Julissa Edwards, a mindset coach and advocate for healthy high performance. Join me on this transformative journey as we delve into strategies, insights, and inspiring conversations with experts and thriving high performers. Get ready to master your mindset, elevate your performance, and create a life of purpose and fulfillment. Let's dive in. Happy New Year. I know that there have been episodes that have been aired after the New Year, but this is a solo episode from me. New Year 2024. So happy New Year. I'm super duper fired up and excited for this episode for many reasons. It's been on my heart to share my biggest lesson learned in business in 2023 as a leader, as a healthy high performer, as all the things. And truth be told, I was just really exhausted come January, this top of the new year. And I'm really proud of myself that I just honored myself some rest. I didn't pump out work or content or anything really. My pages have been a little dormant, minimal content than what we normally do. And honestly, it's not that I don't care, but I don't care. I know that I'm going to get back on it when I need to. And point being here is that I'm honoring my rest. I'm honoring this season of death, this winter season of life, not metaphorically, not like actually, right? That I don't have to go. That doesn't feel good for me anymore. And I'm just honoring that. And it's been going pretty fantastic. I have been napping. I've been resting. It's feeling very, I'm receiving a lot of love, support, and care, and I'm fully accepting it. So this is how we're starting 2024. So hello, happy new year. Let's get into it. Solo episode. I'm going to jam pack this episode. Okay. So I'm leaving. If you hear me sniffling, my apologies. I'm a little sick. This has been going on for like 2 weeks now. So hopefully I don't have a cough attack on this episode. Yeah, let's just keep it pushing. So I'm super excited. So on today's episode, I want to talk about the biggest lesson I learned in business in 2023. But in true Julissa fashion, if you know me as a friend or as a client, you know that my biggest impact stories have a lot of loops, and then we're going to get back around to what the main topic is. So my biggest lesson in 2023 was that money is not the key indicator of success in my business and or in any business. And that realization was really big for me. Now, I'm going to be super vulnerable here with some of my inner woundings that I've had to overcome over the past. It finally feels lifted this time around. I've been working on money trauma for a long time, my friends. I've been working on money mindset for a long time. It really began to be amplified in business, but this has been since high school, heavily in college, like recognizing money patterns, how it made me nervous, like having the realization, angry with money, and the money stories that lived in my family, like just a lot of work on trauma when it came to money and beliefs and all the things, all the attachments, all the ways that I couldn't surrender. Like I've been working on that. And I really feel like there was such heavy, heavy, heavy work for me done in 2023 that finally like obliterated it. I am in such peace these days. And I've been trying to figure out like how do I share this medicine, because I know that money keeps so many people in a chokehold. Entrepreneur or not, 9 to 5, working mom, stay-at-home mom, whatever. Money holds a lot of people in chokeholds, and to feel this feeling that I have around money. There's no more shame attached to it. There's no more guilt. There's like no more overthinking. You know, if you can't see me, if you're not watching this episode, like my hands are over my heart. I just feel really grounded. And inner peace is indescribable. That feeling is priceless, absolutely priceless. To feel at ease when it comes to money conversations. My identity is no longer attached to it. I think that's the biggest blessing that I've received. It really blossomed at the end of 2023 for me, like this newness that I was going into. So let's get into it. All right, guys. So I'm actually going to be talking a lot about anxiety on this episode, and I'm going to attach it back to the main point here. Don't you worry. But I want to talk to you about the feminine and masculine side of anxiety, and when it comes to healing the feminine and masculine side of anxiety. What is that? What does that look like? How are there feminine and masculine traits in anxiety? Well, I'm going to tell you how. Okay. I want you to think about anxiety as this weasel, as this weasel that keeps popping up in different areas of your life. Okay, if you have anxiety and or symptoms of anxiety, nervousness, you can't stop thinking about the future, you don't really have there's a lack of faith. There's a lack of faith in yourself that you have the ability to conquer X thing. Even if you're cool, calm, and collected, anxiety may still show up like you're trying to plan everything out for the future because you don't have trust to go with the flow. And I'm not saying that you can't have plans. You can always have a plan. I love planning, but you have to be able to guide or blend with the waters of the plans. Like if it moves, if it goes right, it goes left, like it's okay. You're gonna be able to hop on your feet and think quickly and effectively in a way that serves you best. Like you have to there's a difference between anxiety and empowerment. When you're empowered, you have difficulties, adversities in your life, and you're still able to navigate them through. And when you have anxiety, those same adversities exist. It's not like people that have anxiety have a worse life. No, it's the same life. It's just that when we're anxious, we feel like we can't cut it. There's a part of us. For some people, it's big. There's a spectrum on anxiety. For some people, it's big. For some people, it's small, but it's there. And it's like, yeah, I don't think we can do this. Like, I know we're doing all the things, but deep down inside, I don't feel like I can really handle this, that I can really push past this thing, this adversity, this problem that I'm facing, this struggle that I'm in right now in this chapter of my life, right? There's a part of you that wants to maybe give up. So it's the weasel. And I call it a weasel with love. I do everything with love. I call it a weasel with love because it be popping up in areas that you were like, hold up. I thought I worked on this. I thought I healed this. And it's like, whoop, there it is again, showing you what else you have to work on. And so the big events in life don't matter, right? I was counseling a client who is going through a hard time medically right now, which is a really serious, like the thing that's happening for them is really, really serious, right? And so anxiety or not, that's something to be worried about, something that you have to now change your whole life around because of X thing. And for them, they were doing a really good job squashing their anxiety. Like they were handling it really well. They were understanding it very well. And then this thing came along and all of the fears came back. Now, here's why I say there's two sides of this, feminine and masculine. So all the fears came back and you can rightfully fight, rightfully so. This is a very real thing that's happening to us. And now we have to make a lot of changes in our life because of this new thing, right? I'm leaving out context and not, air out there what's happening in their lives. But it's big. It's very big. And if I didn't think that they could do it, I would have just left it at that. I would have just said, you know what? You're right. This is a big life event. There are perfectly, rational reasons for you to be nervous. And I did say that. And then I followed with an And when my clients know when I say that, I'm going to push you further. So I said, that's perfectly rational. And I also know you very well. And we've been studying your anxiety for a very long time now. And what we know to be true is that we hate uncertainty. We hate not knowing. We tend to catastrophize. And while this is a very real event in your life, anxiety acts no different. Think about anxiety as a little part of you that actually doesn't care what the stimuli is, what the stressor is. It doesn't care if you stubbed your toe, or if you got in a car accident, God forbid, or if you lost a lot of money, or if overload, like let's say you're in a business and you get like client overload where like 5 people sign up and you're like, oh my God, I can't handle this. It doesn't matter what it is. Anxiety does not care about the details of the event. Anxiety is a programmed machine that just runs on its programming. Let that sink in. Sink in. Okay? Anxiety is just a machine that runs on its programming. It's a part of you and it acts the same way every single time. You have to notice this. Okay? That's why I call it a weasel. You're such a weasel, anxiety. You're such a weasel. Okay? Because it'll do the same thing. It looks different. It maybe has different shades of clothing, different garments, but it's the same damn part of you. Okay? For this person, it catastrophizes. For this person, it makes them think a lot about the what ifs in a negative fashion. What if this and what if that and what if this and what? It's like, okay, valid. Those are all valid things. So then the client came around to saying, you know what? You're right. When I know X thing, when I go and meet this person who can better diagnose what's happening here, I'll feel a lot better. And I said, absolutely. I think that will help you. And what I'm here to tell you is placing your trust in something else outside of you is always what your anxiety does. That's why it's never ending. Because you get to this next point in life where you reach this thing of like, when I get this, then this. When I receive this notice, then I'll understand more about this problem and then I'll feel better. And it alleviates the symptoms periodically until it doesn't. Right? Let me use another example. This is big for entrepreneurs. This is big for leaders, people who want to leave their 9 to 5s. When I leave to 9 to 5, then I'll be happy. When I make enough money in the business to leave my 9 to 5, then I'll be happy. Okay, let's do it. Let's crank up the numbers. Let's crank up your income on the business side so you can leave the 9 to 5. I'm with that. I want that for you. And then it happens. And then we're really happy. We're so proud. Our high achievers, we're so proud. And then comes the stillness. And then we have to meet ourselves where we're at. And this time, we're not as busy. Because when you leave the 9 to 5 world and you go into soulful entrepreneurship, you're not as busy. You're not as busy. What is hard is the inner work. I say that time and time again. It's not that we put more work via hours. Sometimes I have my busy seasons. I'd be working a lot sometimes. But to work a lot for me is also now anything over 20 hours a week. Okay, when I used to easily put in 40 to 60 hours a week because I would have my 9 to 5 and then my other side hustles. Okay, so it's just energetically, it feels like a lot when I go over 20 hours a week. I'm like exhausted. And that's a whole other topic as to why that is. I'm putting more energetically into my client sessions, everything. But that's a side topic. Let's table that conversation. You're left with stillness. When I can leave my 9 to 5, I'll be happier. Okay, cool. Now you're thriving in your soulful entrepreneurship. Beautiful. No matter where you go, there you are. There you are again, you weasel. If you can see me on this recording, I am looking at my babies because I am recording something late at night. And my baby girl is walking. We are in the middle of sleep training, so there's a very good chance. Yes, Maya. Yes, Maya. putting herself back to sleep. Let's just pray that we can finish this episode without any more interruptions. So no matter where you go, there you are. There you are, right? When we place trust, knowingness outside of ourselves, we will forever be anxious. Why? Because that means that we're disconnected. I'm going to say that again. Whenever we replace whenever we place knowingness and trust, add to the list, happiness, anything like that, big like that, outside of ourselves, we're left with anxiety because it is a disconnect from your soul and your inner knowingness. It's temporary relief, which is literally like a definition of anxiety. Temporary relief. There's an umbrella of anxiety. The anxiety monster, it makes you think that if you do X thing, then you'll feel better. Right? Completely different side of the spectrum, but like this is kind of how OCD works too, right? There's these rituals like that our brain feels that it has, our heart and brain and soul feels that it has to do. Oh, if you do this 3 times, then you'll feel better. And guess what? You do feel better. But now you're in a chokehold to the mantra that tells you that you have to do these things 3 times, 6 times, whatever it is. Leave the house this way, turn left this time, like whatever the rules are. Anxiety, the umbrella of anxiety, it's all the same thing. It's just different severities. And people, doctors, have created, I don't mean no, sorry that I said it that way. Doctors have created different names for these things. Okay? But it's all the same thing. We're relinquishing our trust, our knowingness to something else outside of us. So that will always fail us. Know that. That will always fail you. Okay. People might argue that like, well, I give it up to God and that doesn't fail me. I agree with you. My definition of God, universe, universe source, God is within you. We're connected. Y'all are connected. Source is connected. Universe is, I am a universe and the universe is me. It's this big thing outside of me, but I'm also a part of it. So yes, when I give it up to God, when I surrender, that's me. I'm surrendered. Like that's for me what it means to be soulful. That I'm so connected to my vast inner knowingness that I'm also connected to the outer knowings of life, of the universe, of this greater world outside of us. Okay? So that's what happens time and time again with our anxieties. We master one area of our life where we no longer seek outwardly to feel better, to feel safe, to feel grounded, and we can gain it from sense of self. And then another part of life comes and knocks us over a little bit, and it says, "Weasel, are you here to play again? Are you here to play with me again, Weasel? I'm trying to pull you out." It's a test, my friends. It's a test, right? And it's cool. This is what we're here for. This is what our soul came to this earth for. Your body. This is why your soul chose your body to learn things time and time and ten, you hardhead, until you get it. Until you get it, right? So masculine and feminine side of healing this thing. Okay? The masculine side of healing in like traditional therapy looks like CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, where you have to put in the work to get the outcome. And it does work. It works if you're working, you know? So something that I love doing with clients sometimes is just getting them to understand that they are bigger than this adversity, right? So remember times in your life where things were completely out of your control, which they always are, but when things were completely out of your control and completely threw you off Like you did not expect X thing to happen to you. You had absolutely no plan. And guess what? You figured it out. And you didn't just survive, you thrived. So I have them think about those things, right? And it's really just an ego booster. Honestly, truth be told, it's not a bad thing. It's a good thing. It's an ego booster of it's a remembrance of, hey, you've done hard things before and you've overcome them. And not just a little bit, but a lot. How many times can we remember things like that? Remember, like energy attracts like energy. Like thought patterns attract like thought patterns. So if you're thinking about all ways in which life has done you dirty, you best believe you're going to keep thinking about scenarios in which life has done you dirty. But if you do the opposite, where life has been really good for you and life has worked out really well for you, then you're going to attract more of those memories. Neither is a lie. This is where the feminine comes in. Neither perspective is a lie. They're both truths. You've experienced both good and bad moments in your life, but you have the power to attract more of what you think about, hence making your life either easier or harder. So you get to choose. Do you want to remember the times where you were a badass, where you didn't have a plan and you made it out amazingly? Or do you want to remember a time, or the many times, where life left you flat on your face and you felt like you couldn't get up? Which I will tell you right now, I can also combat that, because if you're listening to this and you're hearing me, you've obviously surpassed that moment in your life. You're alive, you're here, you survived. Even if it was hard, you still did it, you still figured it out. In my world, I don't fail. And I don't mean that in a cocky way. If I'm standing here today, I did not fail. I made it. So have you. Okay? So the feminine here, right? Because the masculine would be maybe like even in like affirmations, like saying over and over and over again, like, I am safe, I am safe, I am grounded, I am held. And hey, I'm with that too. I do those things. Life is all about balance. So it's about mixing masculine and feminine traits in everything we do in life, right? So in this healing journey, the feminine looks like, well, how can we be more sure within myself? How can I be more sure within myself? Correction, sorry. How can I be more sure within myself? Because that's really the issue here. It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter what the problem is. Remember, anxiety knows nothing about details. It just acts the same way every single time. So, how can we learn to feel safe in uncertainty? That vast theory, practice, it's so big. It's very vast. It's so big. How can we learn to feel safe in uncertainty? Because that's really what it is. That's really what it is. How can we be open to change? If you're someone who's a rigid person, which a lot of us are, how can we be willing to release control? Those are all very feminine things to practice. It's theoretical, which is, it's kind of hard to grasp, right? Because it's like, that sounds beautiful. How the F do we get there? If you're someone who thinks like that, you're still very much in your masculine, which is okay. There's different parts of your healing journey, right? And you're someone who's like, well, I need the 1, 2, 3s. I need, like, how do I actually, give me the steps? Versus when someone's in their divine feminine, and the masculine is still needed, but when you're in your divine feminine, you take, there's like a moment in life where you accept, it's like you hear these theories and you really understand it, and it becomes a part of you. It's like a deep, soulful understanding of, I'm the only one who can make me feel safe, long lasting. I'm the only one who can maneuver adversities with ease. I get to choose if it's going to be easeful or if it's going to be with resistance. I'm the one who gets to choose to surrender and release control time and time again, because I remember and I know that I feel good when that happens. It's like a weight lifted off my shoulders. when I stop trying, when there's less friction, less resistance, right? It becomes a part of you, like it swallows you almost in the best way possible. Masculine requires more strategy, and I love strategy. Okay. So masculine healing requires more strategy. It's remembering all the times when we didn't have a plan and all things worked out, like I said prior, right? It's remembering all the times where we didn't have a plan and it worked out even better. And we could argue that that was also the universe, spirituality, God, sorts, right? Protecting us, redirecting us, right? But worked out even better. All things work if you work it. I like blending. I like doing a little bit of both. We need to be balanced, right? So you do some masculine things and then you also do some feminine things to help you get along further in your healing journey. So how does this all tie back into my biggest lesson in 2023 being that money is not the most important indicator of success in my business? I want to say that in my business, so for those that don't know, I launched my business January 2020, roughly, right? And I had like pretty good success via like every month I was making a little bit more, a little bit more. And it was little. It was like, I think the first month, like maybe I made like 800, then it was 1,000, 1,100. Like it was little by little, but that was great for me. That was really, really good. It was my side hustle before it became my full-time thing, right? And maybe there was moments of stallments where there wasn't anything coming in, but the next time that I tried again, it was at the same, if not more. So there was consistent growth, you know? Yes, some months where nothing was coming in, but when I was putting in effort, it would come through again. Okay. And of course, some moments of dips, but if I could like put it all on a board, like dots of like, what am I thinking about? Like a X and a Y, you know what I'm saying? Right. It was pretty, it was steady growth. Okay. And, because for me, I like to think, I mean, I mentored so many students in the beginning of their businesses, and I feel like the beginning is easy. It's easy. It's a struggle because like you're putting yourself out there and you have to really believe in yourself, and that's the hard part, right? But it's easy because if you actually do the thing, you're gonna get results and you're gonna get good feedback and you're gonna gain clients, right? So um it's fun. I think it's harder to maintain that kind of success, right? And so year one was really good for me. Then I left my 9 to 5 at some point, right before like year two. That too was good for me. Financially, I'll say, even though the inner work was killing me, it was brutal. Like I was crying a lot. I had a lot of lack of self belief. There was a lot of inner shadow work that I had to do to maintain, to just keep putting myself out there. So when I say that money isn't the most important indicator of success, in 2023 I had a lot of cash flow issues, where money wasn't coming in the way that it used to, the way that I was used to it coming in. And there was many different factors for that. The details are irrelevant here. The reason why I'm sharing this is because money had always been the biggest indicator of success for me in my business and also prior. So I always teach my clients that, my entrepreneur clients, that business is a really big mirror for you. It's one of the biggest forms of shadow work, outside of motherhood, I believe. I think those two things, and I'm a mama and I'm an entrepreneur, so I get it on both ends, which I love. I'm here for the inner work. Thank you, inner work. You make me the best person that I can possibly be. But I will tell you that it's a lot of unraveling, unlayering, a lot of getting to know myself deeper. It's the most intimate relationship I can have with myself. And I feel that business and motherhood have gotten me there, but we're talking about business right now. So it's a big mirror as to what's working for you and what's not. And I don't mean like what's working in the business, right? So money for a long time for me was a big indicator of success. Even before I became an entrepreneur, it was about, okay, if I do this career move, how much money am I going to get? Okay, if I receive this much money, what kind of home and lifestyle can I live in? Okay, if I do this, then what can I do? It was always dependent on the money. And while maybe that's a normal thing to think about in life, the way that we think about things, for me it was the thoughts were heavy on that. And so it created a lot of stress, even though I was a high performer where I would always reach my goals, which is why I'm so keen on now, like, it's being a healthy high performer. I'm not against being a successful person, meaning that, like, you put your heart out on something, your mind, and you get it. You work hard and you receive it. I just no longer want to do it in a fashion that kills me. I've done that for like majority of my all of my 20s, right? Like in my 30s, like I don't want to do that anymore. Moving forward, I want to get to where I want to get to, but I don't want to kill myself to get there. And so money for me, it had me in a chokehold my whole life. And there's a lot there to uncover, right? Like it had a lot to do with my upbringing and how I learned to view money and what it meant for me and other people and those that had it, those that didn't. Like, this is all the same for you and your money stories. Like, it's like, what's your relationship with this entity, this being of currency? How do you feel around it? What's your first experience of it? When, for me, like for anyone that has a negative, money story, when was the first time that it really left a negative stamp in your core memory? That shook you to your core, that forever changed the way that you felt about money, right? Like, there's a lot to unpack there for me. So when I had a lot of cash flow issues in the earlier parts of 2023, I had my mentor at that time, such a godsend. Um, she really was helping me see that I had to work on other things. And I was so stressed. I mean, rightfully so. I have to pay bills, right? I have to pay out my team. I have business expenses. Like, I was so stressed that I wasn't going to be able to make ends meet, that it's all I could think about. And what I shared with you earlier in this episode is that like energy attracts like energy. So if that's what I was thinking about, you best believe those are the problems that kept coming out in my business, just more cash flow problems. And it's actually funny now that I even think about it, because I was still getting cash flow. I was still getting money. It just was really stressful for me to get it at certain points. And nothing had changed. It was just my mindset at that time. And so my mentor really helped me work on other parts of the business. I feel like 2023 really, I had learned a lot about business in the first 2 years. I'm such a baby when I think about it. Like, my business is such a baby, and I feel like I know so much. And I know that there's so much more to learn, but my God, have I learned a lot about business in a short amount of time. Um, but 2023 was really about detaching my ego, detaching my identity from the business so that I could breathe. So that whether it was a flying success or a complete failure, it had nothing to do with me as a person. It was a separation of identity, that my business gets to be its own entity. And it indicates nothing of my worth. And so for me, this was my anxiety. My money made me feel safe. I put my safety outside of me. You see? And for a while in my whole life, I've always, just made more and more money. Um, doesn't mean that it was grand, but it was like, like you gain a couple, like if you're in a career, like you made more and more money, a little bit here and there. And so to me, I was like, you're doing good. Jalissa, you're doing good. You're making more. You're able to do more things, whatever. But it was attached to the income. And so 2023 was really a year of, well, we're going to stop this right here. We're going to teach you to really let go, because I have worked on my anxiety in other areas massively. I told you it was a weasel, that little weasel. And this one, on a spiritual token too, I really feel, and this was also guided by my mentor, who's also really spiritual. All my mentors are really spiritual because I'm spiritual. And I like talking about those things and being in that realm of conversation, while also, mixing business in there when it comes to my business mentors. So, and it's also the way that I mentor people, we're mirrors. Okay. So yeah, she helped me see that this money block that I was clearing, it wasn't just for me, it was for my family. And not just, Marcus, Maya, and my husband. It was for the people that came before me. And that's a beautiful thing about, like, when you clear karmic debt, when you clear things in your lineage that have been holding you back for so long. And I'm not here to say that, like, my family is now healed, but I know for a fact that the purging that I did in 2023, whenever that dust settles, I know my family's gonna be taken care of. Because my God, did I really put in the effing work? It was grueling. And it had nothing to do with money. And it had everything to do with my safety being placed outside of me. That's anxiety, my friends. It doesn't matter what, remember, anxiety doesn't know what you're talking about. It just acts the same way. So, with a lot of tears and a lot of inner work and a lot of spiritual healing and focusing my attention elsewhere, focusing on different parts of my business that is truly really important, other indicators of success, like simple things like, how much am I really impacting my clients? That was always number one. I always, not to toot my own horn, but like that was always my MO. Like that was the main thing. Like I got to make sure that my clients are good. Like that was always the most important thing. But secondary was probably the money. Okay. And what 2023 did for me was allowed me to see the growth and success in other areas of my life that had nothing to do with money, where I really began to fall in love with the growth of my skill as an entrepreneur. Again, not attached to money. It was my ability to speak in front of large crowds, my ability to meet and collaborate with other business owners in real time. It was my ability to, um, oh my God, completely throw out old programs that no longer serve me. I mean that theoretically and like actually in my business. Like, did away with the Mind Reset program, focused more on my motherhood program, focused more to catering to high level leaders, CEOs, leaders in their communities, mothers, again, leaders in their community. Just completely like shifted my entire uh, game plan for like who I served and what I was doing. It was a complete shit show because my identity was being thrown left and right as like, what the hell am I doing? Who am I serving? Like it was such an identity crisis at some points. It was multiple egoic deaths in 2023. Probably on the outside looking in, it didn't seem that way, but trust and believe, your girl was going through it. I was going through it. So I'm really thankful for 2023 because it was the biggest blessing. I was able to detach my ego from money, detach my worth from the success of my business. I was able to lay down really important foundational rocks in my business, stones, pillars in my business that now I'm reaping the benefits for. I've never been more organized. I've never felt more like a CEO than what I do now. Like, my team is efficient. Our success just keeps getting better and better. Our other key points of indicators in the business are thriving. We we're doing so much more, and it feels like, I don't want to say it feels like less because we are working hard in that aspect, but I'm not working hard where it's like I'm grinding my gears and I'm working like late nights. Like, it's just we're in alignment. And so like we did so much this year. Like, we're on YouTube now with we have a podcast. We're running 2 different pages, about to have 3 pages. Like, doing events in the city of Charlotte. Like, I exploded, and this was like with a problem of cash flow. It just showed, like, it's just so insane to me. And at the quarter 4, I was still able to pretty much make what I made the year prior, when I thought that I wasn't even going to make half of it. I guess what I'm trying to say here is that I don't care anymore about the money. I really don't. I really don't. And I hope you can hear it. Like, I feel so sincere and genuine when I say it. I hope that you feel that energy through this voice episode that you're hearing. I don't care about the money anymore. I've always cared about the impact, so that's not new for me. I've always cared about that. But I'm really in love with the growth of my evolution as a being, as a person behind this role of entrepreneur. I'm really excited to try new things in my business, and it's not attached to, I hope it makes me money. I'm really playful in my business at this time. It's like, ooh, let's try this thing. Let's see if it works. Let's try this ad. Let's try this webinar. Let's try that. Like, let's just try it. Let's hop on a podcast. Let's do a podcast tour for other motherhood pages. A lot of the things that I did, I was planting seeds in so many different areas that now I have a whole garden of beautiful flowers. But I wasn't attached to them. They did their own thing. I was just like, sure, yes, of course. You want to do that? Oh, let's do it. It was so frictionless. It is so frictionless. I'm actually having fun in my business. And at the same time, I have grand impact. I'm getting smarter. My psychic gifts and spiritual gifts are growing massively because I'm putting my heart into this. And there's no fear attached because I'm not putting safety outside of me. I know that no matter what happens, I got me. I got me and my family. And that's all that matters. That's all that matters. And even like my family, like that's outside of me. Like, I got me. I'm sick, you guys. That's all that matters. That's all that matters. And like, wow, it feels so good to say that and to actually feel it. No matter what happens, nothing is an indicator of who I am as a person. And that is probably the most beautiful thing that 2023 gifted me. And I'm so grateful. I'm so very, very grateful. So I hope that this episode was enlightening, helpful, and I hope it served you for exactly the medicine that you needed. If you catch this at the right time, I am having fun with webinars. It's going to be poppin' full of impact. If you're a mama, you're going to want to follow me at julissa.edwards_counseling. And if you're a leader looking to be an entrepreneur or do better in their life in leadership, then I hope you're already following me on at the healthy.high performer. You can DM me, you can reach out to me. I have so much love for you. I have so much love for me that I have so much love for you. That's it. Goodbye for now. Thank you for tuning into Mindset Mastery with Julissa Edwards. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe to the podcast to receive future episodes packed with valuable insights. Remember to follow us on social media at thehealthy.highperformer for more inspiration, tips, and updates. If you found this episode helpful, we'd appreciate it if you could share it with your network and leave a review on your favorite podcast platform. Your support means the world to us as we continue to empower high performers like you. Until next time, keep mastering your mindset and thriving as a healthy high performer.